Welcome. You are at the CCC.
Where there are no outside issues. My name is Anthony. I'm an addict and an alcoholic, another bozo on the bus, and I care about you.
And I am Louis, and my pronouns are he and him. I'm recovered for crystal meth and alcohol, and I'm always in search of balance.
My name is Jordan, and I'm an addict, and I'm always the third wheel to this situationship.
And our intention is to hold and inspire better spaces for more people.
And each week,
are
you not reading the script?
I was.
And each week, we strive to foster a brave space where we can engage in conversations centered around topics of recovery.
I couldn't tell there was that gap there. Our intention is to hold and inspire better spaces for more people in recovery by tackling issues sometimes used to separate us.
But before we do that, please like, comment, and share this episode and subscribe.
Subscribe, tell your friends about us. Tell your enemies about us. Tell the people across the street about us.
Okay, we can move on.
And now the disclaimer. The thoughts and opinions expressed on At the CCC are ours alone. We do not represent anyone but ourselves. In other words, we're just a couple of friends behind a mic here to entertain you. And of course, everything we talk about is for general information purposes only. How is everyone?
I'm good. This has been a tough week because I work retail. And so I am dealing with all of that nonsense. It's like everything is on crack. Everything is 10 times worse.
Yeah.
And so it's like I've been giving myself permission a lot to decompress at home.
Yeah. How about you, Jordan?
I'm doing all right. Yeah, no complaints.
You're really far from the mic.
No complaints.
There we go.
What about you?
I've been okay. I've been like particularly stressed out this week. Like despite my best efforts, I'm like pulling 60-hour weeks, and trying to juggle that. But I think part of that is just kind of like the way things, are like scheduled right now. But otherwise I've been having a really good time. I'm just getting over I feel like I'm getting over like another cold. I got sick a couple days ago. Had to power through. Although I did call off on Thursday because I was dying. So,
it's interesting. It's like I don't know what it is, but it's like I've been like I'm not taking any days off until next year, and so it's like I had like this kind of dull kind of discomfort in my stomach.
Yeah.
And so I was asking ChatGPT because I like to run everything through her. She's all, you're probably just constipated. I'm all, okay, thanks.
Were you?
I don't know. It's like, I don't know. But
It's hard for me to think about you doing number 2.
I don't think about it. It should be fine. It's like it's kind of like, it's the same thing. It's like with your parents having sex. It's like, they have it. You don't think about it. It's like, it's like, I would like to say that I don't. But yeah.
But how do you think you got here? Same idea.
Yeah, the same idea. It's just, it's happening. We don't have to talk about it.
Yeah, that's funny. So we're continuing on our step series.
I know, and we should welcome Jordan back because how was Dochi?
Dochi was good.
Get closer to the mic. Eat that mic, girl. I know you.
Dochi was good. Probably top 5 concerts I've been to in a while. Went with a good friend, a good fellow, and yeah.
Nice. Yeah. Did you guys have sex after?
No, he wishes.
Right on. Well, that's good. I'm glad.
I'm just to keep us on track for the step series. We've read the steps so many times, like in meetings and stuff like that, and then sometimes whenever I have to like recall them by memory, I'm always afraid I'm going to forget it. So are you one of these people who can do all of them by memory? But are you one of these people who can do it?
No, because like I've talked about this before, where you have somebody who's doing a reading and they're just staring out and they're reading it, they're memorizing it. It's like, I'm all, you know what? It's one thing to memorize it, but to actually live it. So no, I don't. It's kind of, why would you think that, you know what? You know how I'm constantly having to read the script? I learned what I need to learn. I know my social security number. I know my driver's license number.
Right.
I know my important phone numbers. The rest of this shit, I don't have that much capacity because if I learn some more information, I'm gonna forget my mother's name. This is what happens. I've gotten a little older. It's like, yeah.
I think it was Albert Einstein that said, "Don't remember anything that you can look up."
Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
So we're following during our step series. So today we're going to be talking about step 3. But if you're just tuning in for the first time during the series, our goal for the step series is not to necessarily speak directly to what step 3 is in 12 and 12, but to talk about the things that are inspired by that step. So
Absolutely.
in this case, the third step in 12th step is made a decision to turn our will and our lives over to the care of God as we understood God. But the way we're seeing this is the art of letting go.
Absolutely.
Right? Step 3 is about letting go. Mm-hmm.
What I do want to share is like, okay, so my current sponsor, what we talk about when we talk about our will and our lives that I really love, will being our thinking and lives being our actions.
Right.
And so it's like, when we were talking about doing this series, I think it was really to show like, we're all the same. Like, language is different, but even if you're not formally working steps, you're working steps.
Mm-hmm.
You're working steps in some way. You're taking steps to get to where you need to go.
Yeah. I mean, I think what's interesting about doing 12 step is that I've met a lot of people who will say, well, I feel like everyone should do 12 step, right? And I think really what they're saying is, I think everyone should have a way of organizing their life.
Absolutely.
Right. And I think that's one of the beautiful things about 12 step is that I do think it we talk about it being a design for living, that it is a way that we can think about just about everything from resentments to feelings of uncertainty to like stress and how we kind of connect with something bigger than ourselves. There's just so many, being of service to other people.
Absolutely.
Unmanageability. I mean, it literally covers all aspects of the human experience, I think. What do you think?
Well, no, I'm just nodding and agreeing. I think the same. I was thinking about that because, one of the challenges is like there are folks wherever they are in their understanding, their recovery or whatever, 12-step folks can seem a little overzealous. And I know for me, like when I got this and I started feeling real good, I wanted everybody to have it. What I didn't understand is not everybody wanted to have it in the same way, and that was okay.
Right.
And I think that my healing and what has helped me to see is like, you know what? It truly has to be attraction rather than promotion. You have to see that my life has shifted and changed and care enough to ask, whatever. Because once you ask, the floodgates are open. I will tell you what you need to know and I will encourage you. But it's like, that's a big part, like the whole idea of letting go.
Yeah.
Like I cannot get caught up in the outcome. The outcome of anything. It's like however you get to your destination, because we're going to meet there, but however you get there, that's how you have to get there, even within 12 step.
Yeah, I've always thought you get to where you're going either kicking and screaming or taking the easier, softer way.
Absolutely. And most of the time we kick and scream. It's pretty damn defiant.
Yeah. It's like in the 12 and 12, one of my favorite lines is, great love and great pain are our only disciplinarians. We need no others. Right. It's either we are loved into, I think, well, how to think about that? Like we're loved into the things that are good for us, or we find ourselves in deep pain into the things that are good for us.
Yeah. Hey, Jordan has a picture of a donut on his button. I was going to say, Jordan, what's that? A picture of a baby picture?
Baby picture? You're a pink donut baby.
It's not pink anymore.
It's brown.
Yeah. Not after Folsom. How many weeks ago was that?
Oh my God. It's like,
I was a lady.
That's Folsom. I really like some of the language that we have around today's episode, which is, how do we surrender? What does surrender look like in daily life? Right? Because that's what really step 3 is. It's about turning over to something bigger than ourselves. So turning control into connection or fear into faith.
Step 3 has really helped me with my character defect of control. Because like I have to step back and I have to think about what would it look like if I step over there, if I don't have my hands in everything, is it going to be okay? And kind of like you talked about before, like the magic of seeing how things unfold when they don't go right.
Yeah, that's
when they
my
don't,
favorite.
like when they all of a sudden. And so, great example of how I used step 3 or letting go in my life. When I was Miss Castro Country Club, I'm a title holder. When I was Miss Castro Country, and thank you. When I was Miss Castro Country Club, thank you. What I noticed before, because I worked for the country club, I was the volunteer coordinator, and I helped a lot with. And all of these artistes, the drag queens, they had ideas about how they wanted to show up and present or whatever. And sometimes, with entertainers, there's ego involved. And for me, I just wanted people to have a good time. So I wasn't rigid about my themes. I wanted everybody to do whatever they wanted to do. Meaning you had country, you had rock and roll, you had whatever, just no live singing because we don't do that. And it was fun and it was rounded and more people wanted to participate and be involved. And then when I found myself with challenges where folks maybe were a little disappointed, or maybe I overstepped or said something that wasn't, because I used to always say this thing,
no.
I used to always say this thing, mascara is a hub for bad drag, but then later on I would clean it up and say, which means that any one of us can use it. This is the best place to kind of, if you want to explore, you can do it. And then also I really utilized my sponsor at the time. Like I would process the hell out of shit before I take, kind of like what I do with ChatGPT now.
Yeah.
So anyway, I'm going to shut up.
That's interesting. That's something that, have we talked about this already? But, we've started to, in the clinics that I'm in, we've started to ask people, are you turning to AI to work through mental health issues or to kind of work through thinking? And the reason why that is because a lot of people have found it very helpful.
Do people?
A lot of people will turn to AI to work through feelings or thoughts, which isn't necessarily a bad idea. There's before there was chat, there were AI programs or similar programs that were designed specifically for mental health issues. So cognitive behavioral therapy, there are a lot of apps out there where you can work through kind of like worry trees, or one of the things that's called cognitive restructuring. Yeah. Right. So people are using AI to turn things over essentially.
Wow. Okay.
Mm-hmm. So it's not uncommon.
Okay.
Yeah. Did you think maybe you were doing something wrong?
No. I no. Honestly, it's like I think it was like before, like I found the computer, and this is going to sound funny because
You mean like the actual computer?
Yeah, I used to write a lot, and I remember being in college and only wanting to type on the typewriter my things because it's like I like the feeling of the
yeah.
And then I found word processing, and I'm like, oh, wait, this is amazing. And it's like, I'm just going to say it, sometimes slowly, because, for the magic of the experience, I want to hold on to it. But all of a sudden I find ChatGPT, and like we were telling Jordan, he's like, that's just cheating. It's not cheating if you use it like you use therapy. Like what I mean by that is like, this is not the only thing. This is like a tool to get me further so that I can do the work.
Yeah. What I think is interesting, you have glitter on your face. Did you do drag recently?
No. It's Christmas time and everything has fucking glitter on it. And and people come up, yeah, whatever. It's like, I'm all, you know what? Whatever.
I want to go back to this idea of cheating.
Okay.
What I think is interesting about that is, so I'll take a step back. So one of the things that I've learned around kind of like argument, I used to study rhetoric in undergrad, is that when you allow somebody else to define the terms of an argument, you've already lost that argument. So for example, when a person says to you, this is cheating, if you acknowledge or honor that argument, right, you have stepped into something where you now have to defend yourself against something that might not be real.
And then I usually end up fighting because it's like,
right, because
I can't win, so I'm going to hit you.
And sometimes we will fight things that we might believe ourselves, right?
Being like defiant as we are, it's like I have found myself, not recently, but I found myself in situations where I've gotten so far in, like you said, and I'm arguing over a point that I shouldn't be arguing.
Right,
about
where you're like, wait a
agree.
minute, why don't? Why, yeah, yeah.
Well, I
why
don't
am
like you, motherfucker. So it's like I'm all. So I am going to fight you. I'm going to be right.
Yeah, was it Kiki Palmer who was like, they asked her what her favorite curse word was, and she goes, "Motherfucker."
Oh, I love. She is so funny. She's so funny. You know what's
so
crazy?
cute,
This
yeah.
is the sidebar, but it's like, you know what I keep finding? You know, the longer you stay anywhere or whatever, you eventually become the villain. And folks have been trying to vilify her because we love, and you know, we love
Putting
seeing
someone
people-
up.
putting-
Yeah, yeah.
when they sending, you know, when people are on their way up, celebrating them, and then when they get there, we tear them down. And I'm like, and I'm only saying we globally because that's not my deal. I want to wish everybody well as I can, unless I don't like you, and then I just don't want to wish you anything.
But it's easier to tear someone down when you can't connect with them anymore.
Oh, absolutely.
Right. Like if someone gets, you know,
Yeah, I know.
put up to the, yeah. But this, I want to come back to the idea of like daily surrender and things that are bigger than us. I find like, I think some of that for me is a lot of shit. It's like whenever I think, I've been hearing this in meetings a lot recently. It's like whenever I think, there are a lot of things that I can turn over, but whenever I think something is high stakes, that's a lot harder for me to turn over.
I hear you. Like I sleep at night and I hear Anthony saying high stakes because
Really?
in the last
Did I say high stakes last time?
Well, you said it a few times. It's like I'm all, but you say it, and so I hold on to that because if you know when things feel high stake, it really alters how I address it, how I show up, and it also affects how if I'm able to let it go in the way that I need to.
Exactly. Yeah. And I mean, and to kind of add a different angle to that, like in abusive relationships, one of the ways that a perpetrator will push buttons is to like attack something that feels like it's very important to the other person. So say, for example, if what's very important to you is being like a good father to your kids. Right.
I don't have any kids.
I know, but for
okay,
example,
I got
but then, and I would say you're actually a bad father.
Oh, okay.
Right. You might engage me and feel like now you have to prove to me, like going back to like what I was saying earlier. And so I think that's another example of this idea of a power greater than ourselves, because when I should speak for myself, but when we find ourselves fighting with other people, in my experience, it's because I've made them my higher power.
Absolutely.
Right. Like I've somehow made their thoughts or their feelings kind of all encompassing and somehow like reflective of like my true self or like what's really in me.
You know, lately, most of the fights that I have with other people are in my head.
Oh,
Like, honestly, it's like before like I break through and get to, and actually have a conversation. Because of course it's like in my mind, I'm assuming how the person might respond to, and I'm like, yeah.
So you have shower fights?
Oh God. Yeah. It's like, let's just say that I need recovery and I need healing on a regular basis, you know?
Okay. But at like what point do I surrender everything, right? Like, or turn over everything to the point of I'm not advocating for myself. I'm not sticking up for myself. I'm letting people run over me, or I can't make
I don't
decisions
think there's
for
ever
myself.
a point.
No, I don't think surrender.
No, I think
Go
it's
ahead.
not that extreme.
Well, I don't think surrender means
Yeah.
complacent.
Oh no.
No, I think surrender is actually very much an action word.
Yeah. I feel like you can only do, you know, like when you say do what you can and then turn it over.
Mm-hmm.
Like say we've reached an impasse. There's nothing more that I can do. Then I need to be able to walk away. I need to be able to step out of the situation, because it's almost like the brick wall is there. You know, once whatever's going on is you're no longer able to permeate it. I'm throwing in some big words. Then you kind of,
Is it high stakes?
yeah, exactly.
Jordan, can you give us an example?
Yeah.
I'm trying. Well, okay. So I'm a social worker.
Yes.
And politically, recently, social work by Department of Education is deemed not in a professional
Oh, I know.
profession. So it's like, well, that's crazy, right? And so it's like, at what point do I like just let that be, or when do I have to start arguing, or like, at what point do I feel the need to get defensive about the career I've chosen, right? And then when like, and it's things like shouldn't bother me, right? But then like I hear things and how people say it, right? For example, like Anthony said earlier, I work longer hours. I'm like, I don't know what that means, right? And so now I'm interpreting that and running with that. And so like, how do I not let that bother me? Or at what point do I advocate and say, Anthony, hey, that was fucked up?
Just what you're doing.
Yeah. Well, and my question to you would be, how did you start that situation? Ooh. How did you start that conversation?
How did I start that
Like, what was your role in all of that?
My role, sure, was making a joke about coming on time.
I see. Mm-hmm. So you did what?
I did what? I made a joke.
And that was conveyed via text.
Uh-huh.
Ladies and gentlemen, you are watching right now in real time our work through something that happened before I got to the studio today.
You know what I do now? Because I run ChatGPT. I run all of my conversations through ChatGPT, and then I tone it down because it's like I realize that and Anthony's like actually helped me with this. It's like my tone is already coming for you. But so that it translates. It's like, I think, unfortunately, like we just can't, especially when we're tired. We can't joke with each other.
I did not read that as a joke at all, given the multiple question marks and given the timing of my getting here. My response to you was, ladies and gentlemen, and they thems, was Jordan asked, how are you the last one here? And this was sent at, let's see, hold on. We were scheduled to get here at 8. Never mind that he wasn't here last week after we had told him that we were going to be here. And I said, because I don't have a car, live furthest away, and work longer hours. And then Jordan responded, you're so right. My apologies for even questioning you.
My perspective.
Callers, please call in. 555.
My perspective is like, I felt the humor in it. But it's like, I think that there was a disconnect, and it happens, you know.
Yeah, I think part of that is that Jordan and I have a history of Jordan saying really mean things to me. Don't we, Jordan?
I'm turning it over.
I really do hope so.
Was there anything on your side? Like that? Well, I think would have caused you to take it that way. To read it as maybe not being.
Well, because it did not read as a joke at all. It didn't read as a joke at all. And on top of that, I'm very tired.
How do we then apply this? How do we let this go?
It's very experiential. Yeah, I mean, I think here's my thinking around this. Is that I know, you know, to Jordan's question about like, well, do I let people walk all over me? Like, I know that whenever I feel like gripped in my chest, it's typically a good idea for me not to say anything. I think I have
most of the time you didn't. No, I'm kidding.
No, most of the time I don't actually. And I think that's part of the problem is that sometimes what happens is that when someone says something mean to me or something that feels out of pocket, I don't say anything back. And for the longest time, I thought that meant that I was taking the higher road, or I thought that it meant I was being like spiritual. But in fact, what I was doing was I was being porous and I wasn't having boundaries. And as a result of not having boundaries, I was allowing for people to hurt me. And so part of my practice is, you know, to Jordan's question is like figuring out when do I say something? When do I like stand up for myself? When do I establish a boundary? And I think that's something that I personally, that's redundant, but personally, that's something that I have to be in kind of, it's like a very like second at a time, day at a time, right? Like but the point for me, what I'm trying to get to is that it's generally not instant, but I do think there is something to be said for standing up for yourself, right?
Absolutely.
Like, mm-hmm.
I feel like it's important to practice, you know how we talk about practicing the principles. Mm-hmm. And I feel like you have to, until such time where you know or you can discern when it's okay and when it's not, then if the spirit moves you, you need to open your mouth and say something. Like as much as we will judge someone who's deemed a little messy or whatever, like they're taking care of themselves. I feel like, yeah, but I feel like it's like we just do it. And then, because there are things that I don't do now that I used to do before. But if I hadn't had those experiences or walked through things the way that I had, then I wouldn't have the serenity that I have.
One of the things I tell patients when they're learning how to establish boundaries for the first time is that the hardest part about establishing a boundary is maintaining that boundary. Right? You can tell someone, hey, I don't want you to talk to me this way, or I don't want you to do this particular thing. And 9 times out of 10, people will continue to push. And that's, evidence that the boundary was necessary. So that's like the first thing that's really hard, which is just holding the boundary. The other part is like when you're holding the boundary, like having something to step into. And that thing that you step into is a value, right? Let's go back to the conversation about social work, right? You can have the boundary around, well, I'm not going to allow others to define who I am. The value to step into is actually, as I see it, would be this work is important to me. And if this work is important to me, how do I live that? How do I act from that place? Which is very different, right? We aren't necessarily fighting City Hall, but we are stepping into the thing that's important to us, which is very different, right? Like that's a very different behavior. I can fight you, or I can live for something that matters.
Is it important to boil this pot down to, isn't the actions that are taking place now like an outright attack from this current administration? I mean, it's like, I try to pay attention to source, like when somebody who's whatever calls you something and I'm paying attention to the source and the source is just I'm not that impressed.
Right. Which is that's a really good example of stepping into your values.
Yeah.
Right. Because you're like, this isn't a person, an entity that I think is important or legitimate. But what I do think is legitimate is like what is true, what I know to be true. That's very different. That it's much more sustainable to stand in something that you care about than it is to fight something that's hurting you.
Absolutely.
Right. I think about like unhealthy relationships, right? You can fight a perpetrator of abuse, or you can choose to love yourself and to move in the direction of things that feel good to you.
Absolutely.
That's very different. Yeah.
And I have been witnessing other people on TikTok and other places,
on TikTok
and other social medias. And you're not alone. You're absolutely not alone, because you have these folks who are professionals who are now being told that they're not deemed professionals, which is absolute nonsense. Again, nobody gets to decide. It's like, like we say, I am when I say I am. And so I am. And so I feel like this is another gift or an opportunity to kind of live in your truth and learn how to live in your truth.
Yeah. And this isn't the first time either that, well, similarly, I've been thinking a lot about, like, if you look at my CV or any of the work that I've done, it's rooted in like justice, equity, and inclusion, diversity. I work primarily with BIPOC or marginalized communities, like people dealing with like addiction, right? And these are all communities that have been targeted by this current administration. And I'm affiliated with certain institutions that have deliberately changed the names of some of their programs in order to avoid losing funding, right? So, but here's what I think the most important part of all of this, which is, especially as LGBT plus Q people, we have a long-standing history of having that same kind of messaging thrown at us. And every marginalized group has. And time again, what do we see? We had the civil rights movement. We had women's suffrage, right? What were we going to say?
I was just agreeing.
Right. We had all of these movements, right, that came from this type of animosity. So if there's anything that history teaches us, is that you can only push a group of people so far. And I'm not, I think targeting certain professions, for example, that's just another, it's just another political discourse that, people are going to push up against. And the last thing I'll say about this is something that was told to me years ago, which is like the pendulum swings. I have thought a lot recently that Trump is the pendulum swinging to the far right after we had the Obama administration.
Absolutely.
Right. It was almost too progressive for the country.
This is how we're not going to be able to get anything done, because when they do get back into office, they're going to have to clean up the messes.
Right.
Like I thought about that after George Bush, after Baby Bush, like he'd go in there, he went in there deregulating everything, and then they had to go in and clean up everything.
Yeah.
And it's like,
yeah. And then, it swings back and forth. And I think coming back to the third step, right? What does it look like to let go? And I like Jordan's question, right? Does letting go mean that we just kind of lie down and take it? And I don't think it means that at all.
Yeah, it means like kind of what people of color have had to do. Like, I am just going to throw myself even more into being a better version of myself, showing up, doing what I need to do, because this shit's falling down around me. It's going to happen anyway.
Right.
Like, the thing that's so fascinating is like, people are like, oh my God, there's that. No, we've been experiencing this all for the longest time. This is not new. This is just new because you're feeling it. It's like, Mom.
Yeah. Yeah. There was a really funny SNL clip about that when, do you remember there was the SNL, when I think the title was when white people learned that Beyonce was black.
Oh, I know. Exactly.
Do you remember that?
Exactly.
That being said, I there's something I wanted to make sure that I came back to, which is I was watching this thing recently about people who live in Appalachia, and so much of the Appalachian experience reminded me so much of what it was like to grow up in the projects. And it reminded me that these ideas that we are somehow different are like, they're just an illusion. And the Buddhists have always said that, like, the greatest illusion is that we are somehow different.
We just have to block those messagings, the messagings that's telling us that we're different.
Yeah.
They're really skilled. Whoever came up with it, they're brilliant. They're keeping us over here.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. We should start landing the plane.
So I want to say that the Castro Country Club is a safe and sober community center for all people and a refuge for the LGBTQ recovery community.
We provide programs and services that help change lives by supporting personal growth.
And our vision is to reduce the suffering of addiction by connecting people to community, opportunity, and support.
You can find more information, including all the ways to contact us, at www.castrocountryclub.org/podcast.
Yes, and check out new episodes every Monday.
Thanks, Brandon.